All right, so let's get into the session. Today, me and Anjana are the evangelists with Zoho, and we will be your hosts. We've got Kritika and Nivita, who will be working behind the screen answering your questions during the session. And the trainer for today will be Vivek. He's going to take you through the hands on sessions. And before we jump into the session, just a few quick pointers as usual. Ensure that you have signed into your Zoho One account, and if you are a shared user, you may need admin privileges to access certain features. So, coming to the agenda for today, we'll have a quick introduction into Zoho One, followed by a hands-on part, and we'll wrap this session with a quick recap. As most of you here today are Zoho One users, you would know that Zoho One is a bundle of tools put together that cater to almost every department in an organization, be it marketing, sales, finance, support, or even tools to manage your employees, or we even have tools to come up with custom applications. Each of these applications, they have varying levels of integration, and that is exactly why we call Zoho One as the operating system for business. So those of you who have joined us throughout the entire session, you know that we've been taking a look at every individual application throughout the session. But today, we'll see how Zoho One's unified admin panel can help you tackle various administrative complications that might arise during, especially at this remote situation. Just quick stats. Zoho One is adapted by over 37,500 companies, and at any given point of time, we have around 278,000 active users using this tool. And if you see on average, every user makes use of at least 15 applications from the Zoho One suite of products. What I'm going to do now is I am going to roll out a quick poll. So with employees working remotely, do you feel that the use of multiple applications makes administration, monitoring, and security difficult? All right, perfect. So we have around 40% of our attendees who say no, and 60% of attendees say yes. All right, perfect. Okay, so with this, we move to the topic for today, and that is going to be Zoho One, go from apps to operating system. Without further ado, let me welcome our product expert, Vivek, who will take you through the hands-on training session. If you have any questions, Kartika and Nivita are ready to answer. And please know that this session is being recorded, and we will share the recording with you after the session. Vivek, this virtual stage is all yours.
Thank you, John, and good morning, everyone. My name is Vivek. I'm from the Zoho One support team. Hope you all can hear me loud and clear. In our previous workshops, we have discussed about various Zoho One products ranging from analytics, CRM, Zoho Desk, the finance application. And the last session we had was about the Zoho People, which is an HR management system. Since a lot has been discussed about the products in our previous sessions, in today's session, we'll be discussing on how effectively you can manage your Zoho One as an organization. And some of the other points that we will be discussing today is some of the automation techniques for the user adoption, as well as ways to protect your account, as well as the customer data from external threats. So let's get into the session now, or to put it in simple terms, today's session will be discussing about all the modules that you see on the left hand side. Ways to manage your account and your users. And yeah, so without much thing, let's get into the topic. So the first topic we'll be discussing today is ZIA search. So what is ZIA search? ZIA search, just a minute. So I'm sorry, this is what we'll be discussing today, which is about the Zoho One admin console. And the first topic we'll be discussing today is ZIA search. What is ZIA search? ZIA search is a unified tool that allows you to search for information across all the Zoho apps. This saves you a lot of time by switching between applications to look for a particular information. So let's give it a scenario here. Let's look for the word John. We are looking for the word John across all the Zoho apps. So what I do is I get into the Zoho One admin console, click on Zia search, and look for the information and look for the word John. So I type in the word John here. So the results I get will be across all the applications that contains the word John. So this saves you a lot of time by switching between applications. So here is a pro tip for Zia search. Zia search not only lets you to look for information across apps, instead it also allows you to act on the information that you have searched upon the services. So I'm looking for the word John here from the application mail. So I type in the information that I need, followed by the hash symbol, and then the word, the application mail. So this gives me a couple of results, and this is the email that I have been looking for. So instead of getting into Zoho Mail or opening another window and getting into Zoho Mail again, I can reply right from here. So I just click on the hit on the reply button and type in the message I send out the email. So this potentially saves you a lot of time in switching between the applications. And one more thing to be noted here, Zia Search is one of the premium offerings that's available as a part of the Zoho One suite. So just to rephrase on the Zia, just to rephrase you on the Zia search bar, it's a quick unified search bar to look for the information, can filter information across Zoho apps, and you can do more than just a data search. You can act on the data. And the next up is the dashboard to monitor your organization, which comes as a part of the Zoho One admin console. So what does a dashboard contains? Generally, for an organization, data drives an organization. So if an organization has a meaningful insights on how your users and your applications are performing, it helps you in optimizing your entire organization with respective to users and the applications. If you're looking for something like that, Zoho One offers you right away on the screen. So this is a pictorial representation of how your organization is performing. So if you look at the screen here, you have the data of your signed in users, your failed sign-ins, your most signed in users. And if you scroll down further, you'll also notice the application details, which is the most utilized apps, your most sign-in apps, all that. So based on this, you can enforce or you can push your users to use more and more number of apps, which helps you in improving the productivity of your organization. Dashboard and reports that is on the bottom left, they are the same. So dashboard gives you a pictorial representation, and reports gives you a detailed view, a detailed insight of a respective module. So if you'd like to see who exactly has signed into the most signed in apps, reports will give you a detailed view, which we'll be discussing in the later part. And the next comes is groups. So what does it come to your mind when you hear the word groups? Groups are basically, grouping a set of users under a common department. Suppose in an organization, there will be different set of users, right? From the marketing team, the support team, the sales team, and once your organization grows, as your organization grows, it is hard for you to manage with the number of growing employees. So in that case, what you can do is you can group your employees into their respective departments and teams, which will later lend a hand in various different operations across all the Zoho apps. Just to let you know, groups will play a major role in all the modules that you see on the screen, and you'll be hearing the word groups quite often in our session as well. And on top of this, groups, if you have your emails hosted with Zoho, you can also create the distribution list and your group emails right from here, and you can manage them from the unified Zoho One admin console rather than switching between various different applications. So if you look here, this is a group email ID that I have created for my particular account. So I don't have to get into Zoho Mail or different applications. Instead, I can do them right from here. So this is about groups in Zoho One admin console. And as I said, we'll be using the term groups here and then, or most often in our upcoming topics. And the next is conditional assignment. Uh, what is a conditional assignment? Conditional assignment, when you take an organization, when a new person joins, or if you would like to make some bulk changes to the users, what happens is there involves a lot of manual work. Let's suppose you hire a person today to your company, and if you would like to add him to your Zoho One bundle, as well as add him to applications, it takes quite a bit of time because Zoho One has got 45 plus applications. So, it's really a complicated job or a tough job when it comes to the admin perspective. So, in order to tackle all this, conditional assignment helps you in automating the entire process. All you have to do is you will just be adding the user to your Zoho One, and the conditional assignment takes care of the rest of the user assignment application. Just to give you an overview of how the conditional assignment works, you can assign apps to users based on the preset conditions. Uh, Conditional assignment not only allows you to provide access to applications, instead, it also lets you to revoke access as well, which is based on the rule and the other stuffs. And conditional assignments can also be implied for an entire organization or a particular set of users or all the users in your organization. So in real terms or in live, let's see how that works. And before I show you a live example, let's give it a scenario here. All right. The scenario here I'm going to define is we have a marketing team. I'm going to be hiring around 10 people in the next 7 days or in the next 10 to 15 days. So adding each and every person one by one is going to be a cumbersome process. So in order to automate that, I'm going to adopt conditional assignment. So, and one more thing, what are the applications that the marketing team needs access to? So mostly the marketing team will have access to the CRM as well as the campaigns application. Let's see how that works. So I get into groups. I have created a department in the name of marketing. So as soon as I have created the department marketing, I get into conditional assignment, and I'm going to assign the app to the marketing team. So I click on assign app, and I select the CRM application. And this is where you configure the condition. This is quite similar to workflows in CRM. If you are a regular user of CRM, the workflows in CRM are quite similar to the conditional assignments. So you define the criteria here. So users matching the respective criteria. So the criteria here I have is based on the department. So I scroll through to department, and department is marketing. And I can also select the role and the profile that the marketing person needs. So I select the role, which is an associate, and the profile will be a standard profile. I save it and I hit on assign. So that's it. I have created a conditional assignment. I'm automating this. If you look at this, we are automating the process of user onboarding to your Zoho One. So we have created a conditional assignment now. Let's add a new user and see how that works in real time. So I'm adding a new user, Richard. And the only thing I do here is selecting the department. So I select the department, marketing, and I hit on add. So the user has been added now, have not assigned any application. So I'm ignoring all the manual works here. So let's give it a minute or two. Richard should be a part of Zoho CRM anytime now. Let's give it a refresh. So I have not assigned the CRM application to Richard, but instead this has been automated based on the conditional assignment I have assigned. So this minimizes a lot of time, a lot of manual work as an administrator. This can automate. So for an organization that has 20 to 30 application usage, conditional assignment can come in handy anytime. So this is about creating conditional assignments through groups. So there's also another way through which you can use the conditional assignments, which is through applications. So there are different ways you can use your conditional assignments. You can get into the applications module, uh, hit on the application that you would like to have the conditional assignment, and you can get it started right from here. So you can have it done for everyone in your organization based on the criteria, or you can enforce it for a group, or you can assign it to a respective individual. So this is about conditional assignments in Zoho One Admin Console. So I'll give you guys a minute of time just for you to try it out on your account. Yeah, just give it a try if you have access to your Zoho One account and if you have the administrative rights. And if you have any questions, you can very well post them on the questions tab. We have our support agents who will be glad to assist you. Just to add something on top of the security policies, you can also override the roles and the profile that the user has based on the conditional assignments. I hope you had time to try out the conditional assignment. If at all, if you don't have sufficient time, you can try it in the later part. And if you have any questions, you can very well contact us at support@zoho1.com. Let's get on to the next topic, which is a marketplace for integrating your cloud apps and telephony. So, what are cloud apps and telephony? So, the marketplace in Zoho One has got two broad different features. One is for your SSO applications, managing your third party applications. I'll give you a small glimpse on how that works. And then the telephony will be talking in detail about the telephony integration with Zoho. Let's get into the application part. When we talk about an organization might be using various different products. They might use Zoho One and various third-party cloud apps like Salesforce or MailChimp or ServiceLink. So, to maintain different credentials for different companies or different accounts, it gets really complicated. To overcome all that, we have the applications module in our marketplace, which allows you to integrate your third-party applications with our Zoho One admin console. So by integrating your third-party apps with our marketplace, what it does is you have a single place to manage all your credentials. You don't have to have multiple credentials, multiple passwords, multiple usernames to maintain the users. Instead, it all falls under a single place where Zoho One will be the primary place where you manage your Zoho One apps as well as your third-party apps. This can be done by using the concept of SSO. So let's just try. I'm just going to show how the Asana works here. I install the application Asana in my Zoho One console, and once I add Asana to my Zoho One admin panel, on the right end is the single sign-on option. So these are configurations that needs to be added on Asana as well. Once you add it up, you're good to go. It's again a one-time process. Once you set it up, Zoho One will be your central console. This is about applications in Zoho Marketplace, Zoho One Marketplace. And the next up is the telephony. So what is a telephony? A day in a life of a business people is filled with talking to their customers and their customers and their prospects, discussing about the products. All right. As a salesperson, it will be really hard if you have your sales as well as your calls on a separate module or on two different places, which really doubts the effectiveness of the calls you make, or even if it's going to be hard for you to keep a track of the calls what you have made. So by using the inbuilt PBX integration, which is the telephony integration, you can make and receive calls right from Zoho apps instead of maintaining a separate application. So you can have, if you're already having a separate PBX subscribe, we have a list of providers here. We have more than 50 plus providers here that you can have them integrated with Zoho One. So once you have them integrated with Zoho One, you need not get into each and every Zoho One applications to have them configured. Instead, you can do them, it's a single place, it's a unified place to configure your PBX telephony. And as we talk about telephony, I would like to roll out a poll here to understand, what you know about the telephony part. Okay, let's move on. Yeah, so if you already, as I said, if you already have a PBX system in place, you can very well have them configured here. We have more than 50 plus providers. If at all, if you do not have a telephony provider, not to worry, we have an inbuilt telephony system that lets you to integrate, that lets you integrate across all the Zoho One apps. And let's see how that really works here. So you get into the Zoho One admin console, click on Marketplace, click on Learn More in Telephony, and Set Up Now on the right-hand screen. So what is something that you need by basic to have a telephony integration? A telephone number to dial out and to receive calls. So the first thing you do with a built-in telephony is you purchase a number. So numbers can either be a local number respective your country. You can either buy a mobile number or have a toll-free number. So it depends on your business organization or your requirement. So once you have your your numbers purchased all set up, this is how it looks on the screen. So this is where you configure. This is the place where you configure your entire telephony. So if you look at my account, I have purchased 3 different numbers. So before I show you in the real time, I'll just give you the advantages of using the telephony integration. So once you have your telephony system configured, the same will be reflected across Zoho CRM, Zoho Recruit, and Zoho Mail application. And so this inbuilt telephony is unified across all the Zoho apps. You can have as much as numbers you need for your users or for your toll-free number. You can have an interactive voice response system configured as well. Even you can customize the messages that that your customers might listen to. You can customize the welcome message, the whole message, all that. Let's see how that really works in the real time. So this, once again, this is the place where I have purchased three numbers, and let's try and configure how based on my requirement here. So once I purchase the number, I can either have it set up as a configure IVR menu, which lets you through the different options before you get to a person, or you can directly associate it to a user. Once again, it totally depends on how you position your business. Some of the good things, or some of the positives about configuring the IVR menu is that you can have the IVR menu defined to various different levels. Generally, what happens is when I dial a banking company, or when I dial my bank, let's assume a scenario here. I'm dialing my bank to block my credit card. So as soon as I dial the number, I see various different options: one for credit card, two for the debit card section, and three for the loans, the loan side. And as soon as I click on the credit card, I'll be seeing various different options, which can be to reset your PIN number, or block your card, or to issue a new card. All sort of configurations can be done right from here. So this is the level one. So level one, let's name it as credit card, and you can select the action as well. So as soon as someone presses the key one, would you like him to be assigned to your user directly, or you can configure a sub IVR menu, which is the level two. So as soon as I press one, which is for the credit card, then comes the level two. So you can select one for the reset PIN number, and so if I press one for the reset PIN number, the action here can be assigning it to a user. So you can get this onto various different levels. And similarly, some of the other things are, instead of having to configure an IVR menu, you can associate the number to a user directly. That's another option you have. So certain companies, they have various salespeople, some 5 to 6 salespeople who will have unique numbers to them. So you can associate unique numbers to the users directly instead of going through the IVR menu. And you can also configure, when a user is busy or unavailable, you can select the preferential options, and you can also do the voice configuration, as I was mentioning in the slide there. So you can have your welcome message configured, your menu message when the user is busy. All these are entirely customizable. All right. So once you have successfully set it up, let's see how that looks on the application part. So let's get into the CRM application. Let's dial in a person, Carissa Batman. So once you have your telephony configured, you'll have this the telephone symbol that lets you to initiate a call right from here. So I initiate a call now, and so the call is initiated right from Zoho CRM. Just to let you know how that really works on the on the customer perspective. So as soon as you dial the number, you need not do any kind of manual works to have the call logs. Instead, everything will be recorded right here on the closed activities. So you can initiate the calls right from the application, and once this is done, you need not do any sort of manual works. Instead, the call will be recorded right on the closed activities. So what are the additional advantages of having an inbuilt telephony system is that you can derive reports and compare that with your leads. So you can generate a report that lets you compare your deals closed or deals lost with the number of calls you have made with the inbuilt telephony. And it saves you a lot of time and manual work as well. So this is about telephony in Zoho One. And the next step is security policies. So what is a security policy? As the word says, security policies are something that helps you in protecting your account as well as your customer data from any sort of external threats. So especially at this point and age of time, where we virtually work with our our users, security policies is something that I feel it's really mandatory to protect your customer data. Let's see in real term how the security policies work. So you can define the security policy. Once again, it's highly customizable, which you can have it as per your requirement. So some of the major security policies that we support is a password policy, a multi-factor authentication. You can define allowed IPs, and then we have some more advanced settings. So let's have a scenario here. Or commonly in an organization, what happens is you'll have different departments again. You have the marketing team, your finance team, your sales and support team. Wherein your sales and support team will not be handling much of confidential data, but your finance team who processes the payrolls, who sends the invoices, they have some sensitive data in it. So it is really essential that you enforce a strong password policy for your finance department. So what I do here is, once again, I get to groups here. I can create a group for my finance team or whatever it is. And as soon as I create a group for my finance team, I can come back here and create a security policy. So I create a security policy and I select the group for which this particular security policy must be applicable. So I'm selecting here. I have selected the marketing team. This is just for an example, and you can define your policy right now. Let's see, in password policy, the minimum length of the password should be 10 characters. You have various different options that lets you customize your password policy. And then we have multi-factor authentication. Multi-factor authentication is nothing but a second layer of authentication. A person cannot get into your account just by having the username and password. They'll have to go through one more layer of authentication, which is a multi-factor authentication. So some of the different modes we have in our multi-factor authentications are receiving an SMS text message, a YubiKey, a Google Authenticator. And this is something that, this is something new that you might have noticed, which is OneAuth. OneAuth is an inbuilt, or OneAuth is a tool that has been developed internally, which has various different modes put together. You can have the second layer of authentication either as a touch ID or a push notification, a time-based OTP, and a QR code. And the next up is the allowed IPs. What is an allowed IP? Allowed IPs are, you define an IP range for users from which they can actually access your accounts. So if someone is trying to access the account from any of the external IPs, they will not be able to log in at all. They'll be denied, even though if they have a proper username and password. And the last up is the advanced settings, which lets you manage your web session lifetime, your idle session timeout. If a person stays idle for a respective point of time, then they will be logged out automatically, which again is a security privacy for you. And you can also manage the concurrent sessions. So this is about security policies in Zoho One. I honestly think this is something that is needed at this remote work culture. And I'll give you guys 2 minutes to see a minute, 1 minute to see how the you can try and configure the security policy. Once again, if you don't find sufficient time to try this out, you can very well try it later, and you can reply. You can contact us at support@zoho1.com if you have any questions. Thank you, and let's get on to the next part. Um, we're almost closing to the end of the session now. The last part is reports, which allows you to audit the organization. As I mentioned in one of the starting sessions about dashboard. Dashboard allows you to monitor your users and your applications, and the dashboard gives you a pictorial representation of how your organization is performing. To to get a further drill down view of how this works, you can get into the reports module. If you see on the left hand bottom, you see the reports module. So reports module once again has three different variances. One is you can generate a report based on users, based on applications, and based on multi-factor authentication. So one of the most commonly, used reports is the failed sign-ins. So someone will notice someone is trying to have access to their account or by typing an incorrect password, which gets automatically recorded in the failed sign-ins. Let's see what sort of data you get from the failed sign-ins. So if someone has tried accessing your account from an unknown address or for a failed sign-in, you can identify the location from where they have accessed, the date and time. Also, you can identify the IP address from which they have tried gaining access to your account. And last is you can even identify the browser as well as the version of their operating system. This is just about failed sign-ins. You have various different predefined reports that you can make use of. And if at all, if you would like to have them exported onto your computer or your local drive, you have the export option right there on the right top. You can have it exported as well. And this is about reports. And we also wanted to talk about some of the frequently asked questions about the Zoho One console. So the first question is, what type of IP address can be added for the IP restriction? So the answer is static IP address. The reason being is dynamic IP address keeps changing from time and time. So the IP address that we have in our have in your home, they tend to change from time and time. So it's better if you have a static IP address, you can very well use them for your IP restriction. You can form a sequential range, in order to not to have them disturbed. And the next question is, can I integrate Zoho One into an existing directory system like Active Directory? The answer is absolutely, you can. Once again, if you get into the Zoho One admin console, on the left-hand bottom, you see the Active Directory symbol, which lets you to download this, this installable file on your Active Directory domain controller. So one of the common reasons organizations they tend to have the Active Directory domain controller system is that Active Directory is the central repository where you manage your users and your systems. So in order not to have two different credentials for Zoho as well as your Active Directory, if you have your Active Directory domain controller installed, you can manage all your users right from Active Directory instead of coming over to Zoho One admin console. And the next question is, I use Zoho Apps in parallel with Google's G Suite. If I purchase Zoho One, will I have to move away from G Suite? Not necessarily. you can pretty well use G Suite as well as Zoho One, but then as the page says, you'll be paying twice, both for Zoho One and G Suite. Instead, we have Zoho Mail, which is an email hosting platform, which is a part of Zoho One as well. So if you're paying for Zoho One, you can make use of Zoho Mail as well. And we have some migration techniques as well, if at all, if you're looking to move from G Suite to Zoho Mail. And the last question is, I just enabled Zoho One. Do you have a recommendation for how I should deploy Zoho One apps? This is one of the very commonly asked questions when we meet our customers. Because since Zoho One has more than 45 plus applications, customers find it really hard to adopt to applications. In those cases, this is the approach that we propose to the customers. First, differentiate your organization or differentiate your needs into three different parts: your must-have applications, your nice-to-have applications, and there are applications that you can live without. So must-haves are most commonly the sales and marketing apps, your finance and HR apps, which are really essential to run your business. And then nice-to-have are your productivity and collaboration apps, which lets you communicate with your users or internal communication, all that stuff. Custom solution is something, if nothing from the must have or nice to have satisfied your your requirement, you can at last go for the custom solution. So that is from my side for today. And before I hand over the session to Anjana, I would like to roll out a small poll, and Anjana has got some interesting proposals for you for our upcoming sessions. Thank you all, and I hope the session was helpful. Thank you.
Good morning, all. It is really nice to see you all again. It's really good session we have today, more than 100 plus people. It is really exciting, I would say. A lot of questions, a lot of polls being participated. That's absolutely brilliant. I'm sure today's session would have been very useful for you guys. But before I want to wrap up, I'm just going to give you a quick recap and few more very important information for future. So as you would have seen in today's workshop session, we had, Vivek, our expert, had actually given you more information on ZIA search, dashboards, groups, conditional assignments, and marketplace and telephony, as well as on security as well. And he also gave us some tips as well. So I'm sure this would be very useful for you guys. But if you have any feedback on today's session, please make sure you actually give us your comments. Once you actually end this session, there will be a form. Please make sure you give us your feedbacks, what type of anything would be very useful for us for future. And if you have any question and answers, we have our experts here. As you can see, Kartika and Nivedita has been answering all our questions. So they're going to be here for a few more minutes. You can just pop whatever question pops up in your mind. And if nothing comes right now, nothing strikes, you can also email us at support@zoho1.com. This is our email address. So we have our 24/7 support team who've been, answering the questions for our customers. Well, I'm just not going to end there. I'm going to give you some exciting news as well about this workshop series too. Since, we had been getting a very good response with our workshop series 1. Quite a lot of customers, have emailed us or also participated in the polls, and also they were interested with quite a lot of, more series, more information on Zoho. So we have decided to come up with this workshop series 2. So this is what we're going to have, which is going to begin from the 6th of August. So the first 2 is going to be on the Zoho CRM Plus, which is being powered by Zoho CRM, where on the 6th of August, we're going to talk about automate repetitive sales processing using blueprints. And then on the 13th of August, we're going to talk about enrich customer support experiences through automation. Not just that, we're going to jump into Zoho Finance as well, where our expert is going to talk about project budgeting and accounting, which is on the 20th of August. managing orders and inventory management, which is on the 27th of August. I'm sure we're going to have quite a lot actually. So I'll be, putting a lot of information in future workshop series as well. And please make sure you check your emails as well. We will be sending you the links for registration as well. Well, and as I always, we keep saying, giving a reminder that we also have Zoho's COVID 2019 free relief programs. So this we have for a small business emergency subscription assistant program. And we do have Zoho Remotely, which is a suite of 11 suite of applications, and it is free till the 1st of September 2020. And I hope you guys will make use of this. Well, thank you very much for your time, guys. It's really nice, very interactive audience. It's absolutely brilliant day. Please stay safe, stay healthy, and make sure, if you have any questions, please pop it right away. Thank you.